Hello, welcome to my channel once again. In this video, we are going to be looking at an interesting concept when it comes to authorization in the Active Directory environment. We are looking at group claims. So before we start, let me just give an overview on what we intend to do. So group claims, what do I mean by group claims? So previously, we've been looking at how we can authorize a particular user based on roles. So we are defining roles and we are assigning it to different users. I mean, that's what role-based access control is all about. However, there are some situations whereby it's more maintainable when you work with a group of users together. So even though you can work with this on a role by role basis, but it would be very, very helpful if you create a group, use groups to work with certain roles. And it's similar to what is being done in the real life. So across organizations, you have different departments, and each department or each subgroup, you have roles, privileges that is required for them. So what we essentially want to do is we want to have a way, we want to formulate a way whereby each user have we can know the group that a particular user falls under, and based on that group, we can assign certain roles. So let me share my screen. I hope that is clear. So we are not working with storage accounts. We are not working with storage accounts. So this is just really about groups. So all you need to do is come over to groups. So you need to, for this demo, we need to have a group that we are working with. So go to new group and create a group. So I just created this group right now. But if you want to create a new group, you click on new group and give it a name, group type, blah, 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 and you are good. I'm not going to be creating one because I already created a group that I'll be using for this. Then if we should go over to our app registration. Yeah, so this is the app registration, that's the application object that I created. And what we are going to be doing is there's a manifest file over here that will tell you if you are making use of group claims. So if I should click on this, and if you should scroll underneath, you see the key value pair. We have group membership claim, and it says security group. Previously, it said null, but because I've enabled a group claim, that's why we now have security group here. So how did I enable this security group over here, this claim? So you come over to token configuration, then you have two options: add optional claim, add group claim. You click on add group claim, and because it was a security group that I created, so that's why I have this checked. Then you can see the type of IDs that you want. So you can see the different categories of IDs that you want, and that's what you need to do. Then the other things are what we've already done. The API permission, we added a platform, that's for the authentication rather. We added a platform and a web platform, sign in and sign out, and also we allow ID tokens for implicit and hybrid flows. Yeah. So the other things are what we already have set up previously. Then for API permissions, we do not need to add any API permission for storage account because we are not working with a storage account here. We just want to be able to identify the group that a particular user belongs to, so that we can use the group ID the token ID for that group to assign appropriate roles to that user to authorize certain privileges to that user. That's really what we want to do. I really hope my explanation is clear. So what I'll be doing now is let's go to Visual Studio and see how this can be implemented. So I'm sharing my Visual Studio now. Yeah, so this is Visual Studio. So it's a similar program as what we worked with previously. So I made little modification. This is a new project that I made little modification to what we used previously. So in the layout of CSHTML file, what we have here is something that we already did in the last one. We are just saying that our login partial file should be referenced in the layouts. So this is the login partial, which was auto-generated from the scaffolded file that we added. If you can recall, this was what we did. We right-clicked here, add, and went to scaffolded, new scaffolded item, and that was how we were able to generate a couple of codes around login and logout. So however, it the auto-generated code was modified to be a little bit simpler. That's why we have this. This is way simpler than what was included previously. Then our index.cshtml file is just saying that we want to see the claim type and claim value. If you can recall in our, we saw the key value pairs in our manifest file. So it follows a simple, a similar format here. It's also key value pair. So that's basically what we are seeing here. And you can see it's very, very straightforward, very simple code. Then in our launch setting, we've worked with this previously. So this was the URL that I added to my login and my logout in Azure. So when I went to authentication, this was the URL that I added. Then for app setting.json, all these are for my application object, the app registration that I used. So I got this from my Azure environment. So you don't even need these client secrets because you don't need it. So you can comment this out. We don't need this basically. Then for our program.cs, it's still the same, nothing different. Our controller file, just a little modification. So we are not generating an access token. We are not generating something like what we used for the storage account, but we are working with storage ID. So this is what we have here. In our startup file, we also have this basically. So we have our token acquisition to call, so several classes that helps us to get our claim. So we want to get our claim ID and our claim secrets. So this is what we're using. So let me just run the program. Let me run it quickly and let's see what we have. So I'll stop sharing and I will run it and I will reshare my browser. So let me run it now because it usually goes off. Yeah, so I'm running it now. The moment my browser is opened, I will share my browser. Okay, so now let me share my browser. Yeah, so this is what we needed. So you can see this is what is of interest to us. This is what we are really going to use. These IDs here, these IDs here are what we are going to, what identifies this particular user as belonging to that group that I created. So these IDs here for this group. So we can now use this token ID to assign certain roles to this particular user. So we can authorize this user based on this ID that is returned. And you can see there are a lot of them here. So once we retrieve these IDs, we can now make use of it to grant the user, to authorize the user certain privilege. And it's a lot helpful. It might not make a lot of sense right now, but rather than doing it from a role level, from a role by role basis, being able to do these authorizations groups, based on Active Directory groups is like the recommended practice, and it's easier to manage. It's easier to manage, especially in very, very large organizations. It's easier to manage. So I must not forget to sign out. If not, I'll be having caching issues. So let me sign out before closing. This, just to let you know that this really works. So let me get the URL once again. Localhost. Let me get the URL for the application URL for my launch setting. I think it's 7165. Okay, let me check my browser, the prompts. I think it's 7165. Let me check out 7165. Yeah, for you to see that it really works. Yeah, 7165. So it's also because I'm running it. I've run this previously. So the first time I ran it, it requested consent. So I granted it consent before it could allow that application object. And you can see that it's not just the IDs that we can see here. There are also other claim values or these key value pairs, preferred username, blah, blah, blah. And there are so many. So basically, that that is it for this video. If you find it helpful, don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day, everyone.